See, the thing about Marvel's Psylocke is that she's basically a purple-haired supermodel turned X-Man and a telepathic ninja, a ninja model telekinetic being that's a trained assassin, had her mind transplanted into the body of a Japanese assassin. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. When we're talking about Psylocke, let's get into it. I mean, due to comic adventures, it's expected for her to have different names or identities, even becoming Captain Britain for a little bit. Oh yeah, Captain Britain's her brother. Yep. I mean, when you see her have different outfits like this many, you know she's been through a lot of adventures, improving, gaining experience throughout all these things. It only makes sense, right? I mean, look how creative she gets with her psionic abilities, like Shield and Blade. And just for those that are curious, when she was actually Captain Britain, it does give her a boost in overall powers when she's Captain Britain. Like, it's literally talked about how the Captain Britain outfit gives her superhuman strength and durability, but she doesn't need to rely on this to be a beast, which you're going to see a lot of that proof throughout this video. So throughout this video, you're going to see a lot of hacksy stuff, but she's more than just telepathic. But that's a big part of her too, being able to go in your mind. Usually when you see her activated, you see like this little purplish aura, pinkish aura. So I hope you don't get tired of seeing purple or pink in this video. She's a mutant telepath that can literally fire mental bolts, control minds, even some form of precognition, like a precognitive flash because of her psionic ability she says she might have. I guess she can kind of cheat because she can kind of know the moves you about to do before you do them. This kind of what happens when she scraps with Captain Britain. She can predict all his attacks. I guess astral projection and psionic stuff are in the same neighborhood because she can literally do the magician stuff like go into spirit mode, astral projection type mode, ghost mode, spirit separated apart from the body type stuff. This should be a no-duh moment, but yeah, she's obviously a psychic, so her mind is guarded from psychics quite well. Psionically enhance the superhuman powers of others. Using her telekinesis, she can fly, generate psionic illusions. She can direct her force through her fist to strike as if she had superhuman strength by amping herself with telekinetic power and stuff. Despite the fact she technically doesn't need her muscles and stuff to be strong because she's a psionic being, despite all this, when it comes to her physiology and stuff, she still works out her actual physical body. Regardless if she has psychic ability that can amp her physical, she still works out. You guys know I respect any character that works out. I mean, she's even dubbed as physically perfect in comparison to everybody else. She can lift several tons with her mind, form force fields. Is it really shocking she can give herself shields like Invisible Woman to give herself extra durability, basically stopping herself from getting shot? Let's just say without her shield, she's not the most durable person. Like, she can be knocked out by conventional stuff or electricity, but when you add the shield in, she kind of like becomes a powerhouse, you know? She can make herself an air bubble, trap opponents in telekinetic bubbles like a prison. She can make a dead zone to where nobody can hear what they're saying inside the bubble, or manipulate objects with delicate precision. She can create weapons from psychic energy, such as a katana, a knife projected from her fist, a crossbow, like just a lot of different energy constructs you can make via creativity, like a Green Lantern one could say. But yeah, one of her favorite things is to make like psychic swords. There's a reason why on Marvel Rivals, the new video game, you see her making a psionic crossbow. It's basically because she does stuff like this in comics. Like, you literally see her using crossbows when it comes to making constructs out of her energy, like a Green Lantern. That's why you see her making daggers, a flail, Gatling guns, and other stuff you wouldn't expect her to be able to do, like using her telekinesis, explained here, to modify her molecular structure to keep from being detected, aka she can do what Invisible Woman can do, go invisible. I mean, she's already a ninja with ninja skills, but she can literally go in your head and literally block her presence so you will not see her, even if she's right in front of her. Even if she's not using her invisibility ability, she can go in your head and make you see nothing, like even if she's right there. And you're probably wondering, playing Marvel Rivals, what's up with this butterfly theme? It's something she does in the comics a lot when it comes to manipulating her energy, this butterfly effect. This is not the only time you're going to see me bring up her fighting skills, because she has a lot of raw power, but yet she straight up just got great skills to the point where she can hit nerve pressure points to incapacitate villains, you know, in this occasion with Wolverine. Let's get into her strength a little. These are feats where you can't really tell, is she using her psionic ability to amp herself, but we see her carry beings physically. We've literally seen her flip beings with her muscle. Beings like this, you see. You probably think this is nothing, but you try to swing a weapon around that weighs 90 pounds and actually make it useful. She did this with one hand while holding somebody else. Yeah, she's talking about the weight of it. Above average human, what her muscle is. I mean, you know her muscle isn't weak when she herself says it, pushing big beings off of her, even going as far as saying, I'm no slouch myself when it comes to muscles. I mean, I kind of believe her. Like, in a physical fight, you kind of see her box it out with Daredevil, somebody that's definitely a super soldier tier. They're slugfesting, and she's not just getting one shot, even without counting psionic energy manipulation type stuff. Now, if we count the energy, of course, she's like a powerhouse, of course, which I'm going to get into in a bit. But her with no shielding, it appears, no energy, you see her kind of hanging with super soldier tiers, like Daredevil. So when she says she's no slouch in muscle, she's not lying. I mean, let's just face the facts, y'all. Anybody that can box it physically with Sabretooth this much without her powers proves you have to be superhuman. I spar without the use of my mutant abilities. And you're probably thinking, well, that's skill. I mean, there's a certain amount of skill, true, but like Sabretooth is so freaking strong, it's almost like she would need a certain level of physical strength to hang with him that much. I'm just saying, without using her psychic powers, amping herself up to make her a powerhouse. I mean, her skills are even said she has more grace than Wolverine when it comes to her fighting ability. Because on the Danger Room sessions, you see her on the most lethal difficulty. She uses her assassin skills in this situation. But, yo, this has got to be partly because of her superhumanness physicals, too. But she moves through it instantly. She has great instincts. So, yeah, she is skilled. But, yeah, to a certain degree, you got to have strength, too, on top of it. But, yeah, she's a crazy fighter, too. When we're talking about straight physicals, of course. But if we bring out the energy and the telepathy and stuff, that's a different thing. You could say this is kind of like her cheat code advantage. Yeah, so she really is no slouch when it comes to muscles. So I repeat, even with no energy blast or psychic kind of power, she's still superhuman muscle-wise. I mean, these could be her amping herself up with psychic energy. It's not like they're going to tell us every single time, but occasions like this, you see her bluntly punch beings and they go flying this far. This gives you implications of her muscle without no energy manipulation, just blunt punching power. This can give you the idea of the weight of her hits or kicks. I don't see no purple around her leg, but you see the helmet shatter. You see? Look what she did to concrete after smashing this man's head on it. Whether it's concrete or metal, you see what the weight of her kicks do to beings, engraving metal and stuff. Not only boxing it with Sabretooth, but we literally don't see no purple at all, and you see her do this to his face in the dirt or concrete. Look how she swings Daredevil into the wall. You see the stuff break or crack. Look at the weight of her punches, and I don't see no energy like she's amping herself with purple energy, psychic power. I mean, this is kind of showing how hard she can hit. I mean, look at the punching bags. She just kind of shattering them, like all of these. She's all about that workout regimen, but she also be damaging the workout equipment with the weight of her kicks. So you kind of know her muscles are absurdly mighty, but this is just the beginning. Because if we add on the fact that she's a ninja, really skilled, she got telekinesis, everything I just stated, everything just gets magnified even more. When it comes to her lifting up different Marvel characters with her telekinesis, like even heavier characters like Colossus getting slung like a tennis ball, it shows how strong or how much weight she can sling with her telekinesis, proving that lifting 500 plus pounds is easy to her. She can actually rip up the floor you're standing on, uproot trees, land vehicles that are over a couple tons like jets, even evidence to suggest she can lift over 10 tons with her telekinesis by making a seawall, toss a tank. You know tanks can weigh 50 or 60 plus tons. How much do you think all of this debris weighs? And this giant handout of debris, like how much do you think that weighs? She's strong enough to hold a space shuttle together by using her telekinesis as the heat shield to protect us from the atmosphere friction of re-entry. Like you can say this can give an idea of how durable her shields are. She can make telekinetic bubbles around the shuttle to hold everything in place. They literally spoon feed us defeat by saying, for a part of a half hour, she's been using that power literally to hold this crippled space shuttle together during the most dangerous period of an orbital mission, the re-entry into Earth's atmosphere. And everything seemed to turn out fine. If she can lift these kind of tanks with her telekinesis or debris this heavy, it's really no surprise she can blast and blow doors off the hinges, blast robots apart, blast ninjas and mess up their metal side weapons, bust through brick walls. Let's just say she shouldn't have no problem destroying buildings if her shields can withstand buildings being destroyed all around her. Because let's just say the density of her shields, you could get an idea of her power by how dense her shields can be. So would you say it's not really a shock that her blast can destroy buildings? That's not really a shock, right? She's shielded from all of this madness that was doing all this to a freaking building. So yeah, it makes sense that she easily should be able to, blast away buildings if she can protect against that kind of stuff. She's forever showing how dense her shields can be when she's shielding herself and her friends from a literal building collapsing on top of them. They literally stated verbatim, the building's collapsing. Her telekinesis can protect the people close to her. So yeah, I know that's just a statement, but it proved to be true because she actually did protect them. There was this time Gambit blew up the entire floor beneath them, and it caused all of this. She still shielded everybody, and oh, what do you know? A skyscraper collapsing on them, and she protected everybody. Huge building-ish size things she can move around with her psionic telekinesis type power. Energy blast wise, she can literally create something almost the size of a building, like a literal energy construct, Green Lantern style. So what do you expect? Betsy, aka Psylocke, believes she could blow away the whole city block, flatten it. Aka she herself believes she can blast away multiple buildings, but she can focus it, all that blast power, in a small area, like into her fist or her blade, to produce piercing damage with that same kind of blast power, but via through her sword. Even going as far as saying and she can cut through anything because of this. So when you see her and her sword at hand, it's not just an ordinary sword you gotta worry about. You gotta worry about her amping her sword up with her own energy, slicing through metal like butter, slicing through armor and energy shields. Whether it's metal, robots, sentinels, these blades cut through it all. That's why she can slice 3 machine guns with one swipe. That's why she can cut in submarines, aircrafts, steel bars, slices a hole through walls. She can also create energy to break her own bindings. It's the ultimate manifestation of Psylocke's telekinesis, a sword composed of raw psychic energy backed up by the full force of her will. There's a reason the blade can block lasers from Sentinels, damage Strife, aka another version of Cable. Her sword actually clashed with adamantium and it didn't get cut. She can focus her energy, her psychic energy, because she can compress stuff telekinetically into denser projectiles. Her being able to shield from building destruction or blast down buildings with ease is kind of an oversimplification. When people address Psylocke, they talk about how you're Psylocke, the one who throws mountains around. So yep, Psylocke can literally throw and toss around mountains, like aka millions or billions of tons, which is going to make the blast power stuff I'm going to show you in a bit a lot more believable. Very reliable psionic telekinetic beings literally states she can shatter mountains. I would love to see a live action clip of her blasting apart like a Mount Everest or something. She kind of claimed that she could smash mountains like as a playground. So it's pretty much confirmed she can shatter or split mountains, but that's still scratching the surface. Psylocke working together with another psionic being, they worked together to shield from something that was going to level an entire city, proving that she's way above city block destroying kind of power, but more in the nuclear bomb ranges at least when it comes to her blast power and telekinesis, shielding, blah, blah, blah. I know it's starting to feel like every character I go over is a planet shatterer, but yo, that's how Marvel is. There's implications Psylocke's one of those too when you add in her telekinesis raw power. When there's other beings that have planet shattering type telekinetic type raw power, when they have their opinion about Psylocke, when they say their telekinesis can't match Psylocke's, that says a lot about where Psylocke goes in the hierarchy. Rachel is a being that's extremely powerful. That's power is compared to a living star. Now you see why Rachel saying that about Psylocke is impressive. When you got beings like Beyonder talking about Rachel like this, saying she's akin to a young star that has just begun to glow. The Beyonder is saying, of all the beings I've encountered on this world, she is potentially the most like me. The Beyonder saying that, what? Her power is literally, when it comes to her blast power, it's compared to the raw power of a freaking star. This right here is enough evidence to imply that Psylocke's blast power or telekinesis is far above the power needed to earth shatter. When you got beings like Rachel Gray saying her telekinesis, she can't even match. Like, make that make sense, guys. Psylocke kind of agrees that her telekinesis is stronger than Rachel's too. So yeah, that's kind of like a more than one statement occasion, stating something similar. You guys know the size difference between something like the sun and the earth. You guys know the routine. When you got powerhouse telekinetic beings speaking highly of Psylocke like this, that lets you know her power in the power hierarchy. I mean, look. Psylocke can literally hurt and damage Asgardian beings like Lorelei, so let that sink in. When you look at the feats of her focusing her energy to strike harder, the beings that she can damage, it kind of also implies on what power level she has to be in the hierarchy. When she can literally cut powerhouse tier beings like Ronan and cause him physical discomfort, he even goes as far as saying, "You hurt me, I did not think that was possible." The reason why this is impressive is because Ronan has withstood attacks, boxed it out with like pretty much every major powerhouse you can think of, whether it's Captain Marvel, the male version, the female version. Just a friendly reminder that the female Captain Marvel can blast with so much raw blast power. In like later comments, it's pretty much confirmed like Captain Marvel tier beings can literally blast holes in literal stars themselves. These are the type of characters Ronan is getting punched by. This is why Ronan was surprised that somebody like Psylocke can even damage him even a little bit, because he's took some of the best hits from some of the mightiest powerhouses of them all. She's literally damaging the being of bodies that can withstand attacks from beings that can blast holes in stars and blow stars up and stuff. Like, let that sink in. Saying her blade can produce the energy needed to earth shatter is an understatement at this point. She has really good precision with her telekinesis, so I guess this kind of raw power makes sense. They say that she can tear a field apart on a quantum level, so I guess that makes sense. It's kind of hard to beat her for good. See, here's the thing about Psylocke. Her psychic form began to slip away after the body exploded. Instinctively, she used the soul power she left behind to create a new body, molecule by molecule. Characters like Kitty can be intangible to the point where psionic stuff can't hit her or physical stuff. Well, Psylocke can counter intangible beings because her telekinesis can make them solid again, and my psychic sword sword should drive away whoever's threatening. Like, what? Another thing you got to put in consideration when it comes to Psylocke's blast power is the fact that she can actually damage Rogue. I mean, you know, Rogue can touch people, get their power, but there's certain things she has permanently, like either Miss Marvel's power or Wonder Man. Like, both of those beings are powerhouses. She's damaging her, even though she has those kind of beings' durability and stuff. With her psychic blast, she can damage her. This scan in particular isn't Rogue, but Rogue has the powers of this guy. So this to give you an idea of Wonder Man's durability, he's taking attacks from Silver Surfer, somebody that's easily can destroy planets, even solar systems, beings like Sentry, all the powerhouses. You get the idea. Wonder Man is somebody that Rogue has the powers of. You see what I mean? Like that crazy durability. Rogue has this kind of durability, and Psylocke can still damage beings like Rogue. That says a lot about Psylocke's blast power. I mean, we literally see her blast Rogue into a brick wall and kind of hold her in it, proving that she's a powerhouse even more. You see her boxing with Rogue. Magneto is pretty much a powerhouse. His magnetic shields can block from some of the strongest beings in the universe, Thor level beings, even She-Hulk tier beings. So you know he can shield with this kind of power. He can blast a lot of power too. Magneto can. We've seen Psylocke actually shield from beings that have similar powers to Magneto, stated here. I mean, let's just say it. I mean, she can shield from Magneto this well. You can debate in the comments below who you think is strong when it comes to raw power. They have different powers. He's magnetism, you know, manipulation and stuff, and electromagnetic spectrum manipulation. Hers is just raw telekinesis. But notice Magneto can't just easily take her out. Her raw blast power is actually putting pressure on beings like Magneto. Heck, she even got the jump on him. You can argue because of her hexy nature, because of her psychic knife stab type of attacks that can do crazy damage to beings. We're never going to talk about what happens if she goes in your head. Even beings we all could agree have the raw physical strength advantage, like Captain Britain, she can kind of hang with due to all of her powers mixing in together with one another. Right here kind of proves more that she's up there with the powerhouses. They even narrate they're too evenly matched. I mean, she can hit hard enough with her psychic energy attacks around her sword to make her own localized shockwave area of effect type of blast. But when you can amp your energy around your fist so much to where you can actually sting beings like Hercules to where he's like, ouch. It did hurt her hand still, so I'm not necessarily saying her telekinesis is exactly completely equal to Hercules' raw durability, but it was hard enough to make Hercules do this, which should be impressive to let you know her energy output against powerhouses like this. Hercules is the kind of guy that can literally shake the universe, and no, this is not an exaggeration when it comes to his punching power and stuff, because he literally does similar stuff to this. When it comes to his myth-like feats with the Atlas supporting the heavens or universe with the duty feat, you know, one of the labors that Atlas had to do, Hercules had to relieve him of it for 3 hours, supporting the weight of the universe. This is a myth feat. You can't call it an outlier. This is a big part of their lore and mythos, supporting an infinitely massive weights like the heavens themselves. Not saying she's completely equal to Hercules, but she did this. This is something to put in consideration. She has to be a powerhouse somewhere in their league. I mean, how else can you perceive this? She can sting or cause physical agony to certain beings' bodies that can support infinitely massive weights. What do you call this? Her damaging Rogue, and Rachel saying her power or telekinesis can't compete with hers. There's a lot of evidence, not just the Hercules thing, to suggest she's a powerhouse when it comes to her telekinesis. Considering all these powerhouses in Marvel can destroy stars, solar systems, support infinitely massive weights, Big Bang levels of power, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this shouldn't really be a shock, honestly. Morgan Le Fay level beings she can block attacks from. Somebody we know for a fact that's a powerhouse. She has shielded from multiple sorceress magic beings. We literally see her shield from Dark Phoenix. If you still have some doubts about her power level, when the threat levels are being analyzed, Magneto, they considered him a high level threat. They considered Colossus a high level threat, and they also consider her like in that same category of high. You know what I mean? A little vague, but yeah, high. Psylocke's job is to protect rulers who are nigh invulnerable. What? If you somehow don't believe she's a powerhouse, at least with her psychic blast power and stuff by now, even after fighting beings like Merlin and withstanding their magical blast, if you somehow still don't believe she's up there with the powerhouses via psychic power and stuff, would you believe it if I said whatever she might lack, and that's a big if, whatever she might lack when it comes to psychic energy, she can make up with her telepathy. She's like very dangerous with her telepathy. It's one of those things, if you don't have a good enough resistance to it, you can legit be stronger than her in raw power, and she could technically still get a win on you. She used her psychic dagger to penetrate Juggernaut's helmet, something that's supposed to be completely resistant or completely immune to psychic type of attack. That lets you know even if you have these special helmets on, you're still not technically safe against Psylocke. Juggernaut even said that hurt. Didn't think that was possible. My helmet's supposed to protect me from mental powers. That lets you know how crazy Psylocke is. She's even made beings like Wolverine sleepy with her psychic attacks, telepathy type stuff. She does this to Iceman. And Polaris even knocked out Jean Grey. It is mentioned that she did catch her off guard, though. I want to make that known. So she kind of cheated, but it's still impressive. Stabbed Iron Man through his armor with this psychic knife. You would think this wouldn't work. This even works on Sebastian Shaw, despite him being able to absorb energy. She's scary because she doesn't necessarily have to even touch you to beat you. She can literally just put you to sleep, like how she did to this alternate reality version of Storm, without even physically touching her. Or if she wants to, she can just freeze you and paralyze you. Afterwards, she technically could be evil and just murk you after it, but she's nice sometimes. But that lets you know how effortless murking you could be to her eyes. There's one thing mind controlling random people on the battlefield, but when it comes to main characters, named characters like Wolverine, she can stop them from fighting. That lets you know the level she's on. Yeah, Wolverine's tears are not safe. Like, imagine being in a fight with her, and just randomly in the fight, she just summons a creature to fight you, where she just can sit back and relax while the creature fights you instead. Ain't that cheating? She can just kind of sit back and watch it fight you, because she can mind control it. She can give you a stroke by crushing your brain. Wolverine tier beings, she can like kind of lock their muscles tight to where they can't move, paralyzing them. If you're one of those people that like narrative better, narratively, she's one of the mightiest telepaths. Like, they literally put her in the list. Dubbed as the third most powerful psychic on the planet, it's kind of sad that she's trying to shield from 16 million people's thoughts. It's talked about how if somebody takes psychics that are similar power level to her, every person on Earth will choke on their own despair, telepathic-wise on the whole planet level, feeling stuff from all over the planet. If she can't beat Hercules with raw power, she can do it with psychic power. She could ram the world's pain into your nervous system to kind of get the advantage over them that way. Imagine tapping into all the psychics. Working together with somebody else that's really good psychic, she was helpful in getting rid of all the traces of the Shadow King. She can resist the Shadow King's onslaught. She can even lock powerful beings like this away, locked in her own mind. Literal psychic jail. Beings that have multi-personality issues, she kind of helps with this little psychic jail stuff. She needs to get cool with Hulk, don't she? Help keeping certain beings in control. Omega level telepaths like Stripe, which is basically another version of Cable, she can affect. She can make psychic minds, increase pain 1,000-fold, amplify the powers of mutants that are already powerful on their own, just kind of help them unleash their full potential, basically. She's hacksy because she might actually be able to counter Wolverine, saying even your healing factor is no defense. Your nervous system is in a total spasm. She can short-circuit neurons, stated here. She can say, get your consciousness into another consciousness. She can make a psychic cleansing fire to clear you out. Beings like Legion, who's absurdly overpowered, she can help put him to sleep. You know, team effort style, though. It's pretty much confirmed she can literally shatter beings' minds. She can telepathically block Jean Grey tier telekinesis somehow. Literally soloing a whole bunch of Captain Britain core beings. Mr. Sinister, self-explanatory, he's a powerhouse. We see her getting a full-blown psychic type fight with a heavy hitter like this. She did get overwhelmed, but it lets you know, yeah, whatever she might lack in her pure sonic blast power, she can make up for it in her telepathic power. This really shouldn't be a shock to you, but when it comes to her combat speed, you've seen the character she's fought throughout this video, so you know she's fast. I mean, trying to shoot her, she will literally just put the bindings in the way so she can shoot herself free. Characters are always pulling out guns on these kind of beings and you can't hit them. Straight up fast enough to deflect literal flying bullets with her blade. Imagine running towards a gunman and you're just deflecting the bullet. She has the combat speed to keep up with Sabretooth and land blows or psychic attacks. She blocks Spider-Woman's Venom Blast. Combat speed similar to Gambit, like on how Gambit can deflect all this stuff, she can deflect this stuff too. There's even comics that highlight the advantage she has in speed and agility. I showed this a little bit earlier, but just from the fact she can react and combat against beings like Daredevil in combat speed, and even having him on the ropes in certain times, shows that she's on that level of fighting speed at the very least. I mean, Daredevil's the type of guy that can detect nanosecond pauses, guys. That's literally 1/billionth of a second. I mean, there's even other comics, if you don't want to believe billionth of a second, there's times where they literally tell you how Daredevil can react in 1/millionth of a second. This pretty much means just because you're a speedster and you can run faster than her, and if you try to blitz her, that doesn't mean you can blitz her just because you got some crazy super speed. She can react to stuff going this kind of speed. We've seen her dodge repulsors. You could say this is a skill feat and a combat speed feat because she's fighting beings that have more than 2 arms. The best of the best psionic beings say they can't mess with her. I mean, what else is there to be said? Psylocke also believes you should like, share, subscribe, and I gotta give a quick thanks to the donators. Respect Psylocke. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.